Bill Belichick is not afraid to move on from a player, even if that player was the Defensive Player of the Year just 2 seasons ago. Bill Belichick has received some backlash from the Boston media and the Patriots fan base after trading away Stephon Gilmore. And with New England set to face the Carolina Panthers this weekend, the trade has been brought back into the spotlight. However, both Gilmore and Belichick have stayed pretty quiet on why they weren't able to get Gilmore back on the field with the Patriots. Because we have very little information, it's difficult to really analyze what actually happened, and more importantly, why it happened. However, there are pros and cons to every situation, and Gilmore said it was better for both parties that the trade happened. Now, Karen Garigian of the Boston Herald wrote, during a press conference call with the media Wednesday, the former Defensive Player of the Year said that he didn't have any sense that the Patriots were going to trade him. The 31-year-old corner, who won a Super Bowl during his time with the Patriots after signing a lucrative 5-year, $65 million free agent contract in 2017, said there were issues over his contract and how the team handled his quad injury, but didn't get into great detail about either. Ultimately, Gilmore said it was best for both sides that the trade happened and the two sides parted way. Quote, "It was better for both of us to be in that position," he said. "I'm happy to be back home now. Things just didn't work out. That's life. You have to move on and adjust and handle your situation the best way that you can." Now, is it too early to judge Bill Belichick for making the Stephon Gilmore trade? Gilmore looked pretty good in his first game with the Panthers. That's obviously a con. Now, granted, it was a very small sample size. I believe he only played 17 snaps, but he did have, I don't know if it was a game ceiling, but a very critical interception at the end of the game. And obviously that just churned the stomach of Patriot fans everywhere. So to see Gilmore return from his injury and already get a pick in his first game with Carolina is obviously going to lead people to believe that the Patriots made the wrong decision. Now, a pro is we don't know what kind of deal that Gilmore is going to get next year. Stephon Gilmore is allegedly looking for top 10 cornerback money. Let's not forget he's going to be 32 years old when this season finishes and the next season starts. I apologize. And because of that, top 10 money to what is now considered an aging cornerback coming back from a quad injury on a team where they said he's coming back from an injury and they're really only going to play him on third down, I would say is a little bit of a risk. I don't believe that Gilmore will ever live up to the contract expectations if he is given top 10 money, maybe for a year or two, but as we get further down the line and dead cap becomes higher and higher, especially if it's a backloaded contract that teams might put because of the salary cap next season, it could be a pro that Belichick moved on now. Now, one of the biggest cons is Belichick waited too long to trade him. You could have traded him at the trade deadline last season. You could have traded him in the offseason. You could have traded him at the draft. You could have traded him in September before putting him on the pup. However, every moment that he stayed on the team was just crucial to him losing his value. Belichick didn't maximize on his value. He only let it drop, only ended up with a 6th-round pick for a guy who was the DPOY 2 years ago, and that's a big blow to Belichick. Now the pro is Gilmore wasn't happy with his contract or how the Patriots dealt with his quad injury, and obviously if a guy's not happy, he's not going to want to be there. We just saw the Steelers do that yesterday with Evan Ingram, and basically Mike Tomlin came out and said, hey man, we want volunteers, not hostages. The Patriots knew Gilmore wasn't happy. He wasn't happy around a lot of things, and listen, his contract was an issue in New England. It's not going to be an issue in Carolina, and people might say, look, he's willing to play for that money. Not in New England. It's a new place. It's a new home. He's not going to go stir the pot. He's going to try to ball out for the rest of the year and try to earn his money next season. That's just the way it goes. Everybody knows that. Don't be ignorant about it. If he's not happy, it was time for him to move on. They both said that it was better for both teams. And if it's better for both teams or both parties, it's just time to go.